In the small coal town of Mattuon, West Virginia, the Blackwater mine was both a lifeline and a graveyard. In 1962, 17 miners went underground for their morning shift and never came back. The official story from Cumberland Coal Company blamed a methane explosion that collapsed 3 tunnels, trapping the men inside. The company paid $5,000 to each family, sealed the mine, and Mattuon tried to move on from its worst tragedy. 50 years later, in 2012, Sheriff Danny Morrison, a local born and raised in Mattuon, found a file that turned that story upside down. What he uncovered would expose a conspiracy of murder, government cover-ups, and stolen resources worth billions. All buried beneath the town he swore to protect, Danny was sorting through old records in the Mingo County Sheriff's Department basement, a dusty room filled with boxes from the 1940s. The air smelled of mildew, and the fluorescent lights buzzed. As he worked late, organizing files for a new computer system, among the stacks, he found a thick folder labeled Blackwater Mine, Incident 1962. Inside was a report detailing an explosion on April 23, 1962, at 11:47 a.m., claiming 17 lives. One name stopped him cold: James Patrick Morrison, his grandfather. Listed as the lead foreman, Donnie had always been told his grandfather died of a heart attack, not in a mine. His family never spoke of him working underground, only in construction. The file held more surprises. A handwritten note from Deputy R. Collins called for further investigation due to discrepancies in witness statements. But Sheriff Hawkins had scrawled, "Case closed. No further investigation required." Why shut down a probe into 17 deaths? A settlement agreement showed families received $5,000 each. Finalized by May 15th, less than 3 weeks after the incident, far too quick for such a disaster. Buried deeper were geological surveys mentioning uranium, or deposits worth $2.3 million per ton in 1962. During the Cold War, uranium was gold for nuclear weapons, hinting the explosion might hide something bigger. Danny drove to the Blackwater mine site on Route 52, a 20-minute trip through winding mountain roads. The entrance gate hung open, rusted, with a faded Cumberland coal sign in danger, "Keep Out," spray-painted in red. The air carried pine and coal dust, and the sealed mine entrance loomed, reinforced with concrete and steel beams stamped April 24th and 25th, 1962. Sealing began the day after the explosion, contradicting reports of extended rescue efforts. Scattered paper timesheets, safety reports lay half-buried under leaves, as if the site was abandoned in a rush. As Danny photographed the scene, he spotted a man watching from the tree line, tall and thin, in work clothes and a cap. When Danny waved, the man vanished. His radio crackled. Dispatch said someone from the state mining office asked about his location but left no callback number. Someone was watching him. Back at the office, Danny called the West Virginia Department of Mining Safety. Betty Mason, a clerk with 30 years' experience, found no record of a 1962 Blackwater explosion or fatalities, despite the sheriff's report in his hands. She said Cumberland Coal closed the mine on April 22, 1962. A day before the incident, listed as an administrative closure, Danny's father, when questioned, urged him to stop digging. "Some things are better left buried," he said, Gate admitting the heart attack story was a lie to shield Danny. 17 men died. Drop it. The call ended abruptly. Danny tried contacting the other miners' families, expecting to find descendants in Mattuon's tight-knit community. Instead, he found nothing. The Hendersons had left town after the incident. The Caldwells vanished up north. The Garrett's house stood empty for decades. It's turned dozens of calls. No relatives turned up. Public records showed 6 families sold their homes and left West Virginia within 6 months. 3 moved elsewhere in the state, and 8 disappeared without a trace. No tax records, no death certificates. In a town where everyone knew everyone, this was impossible without interference. A man named Carl Hutchkins reached out, claiming knowledge of the incident. They met at an abandoned diner on Route 119, 10 miles from town. Danny arrived early, checking for threats. At 8 p.m., Hutchkins, a weathered 73-year-old, appeared. Over coffee, He said he was a miner in 1962 but called in sick on April 23rd. Feeling guilty, he went to the mine at noon and heard gunshots underground, like a war. Hiding behind a shed, he saw men in suits with rifles, not miners, and unfamiliar workers loading boxes into unmarked trucks. The Cumberland supervisor, and Sheriff Hawkins, both armed, overseeing a rapid sealing of the entrance with concrete. Hutchins gave Danny a .306 shell casing from the site and a stolen geological survey showing uranium and rare earth elements worth $127 million in 1962, over $1 billion today. He warned that the killers were still out there, having silenced others, like Deputy Collins, who died in a car crash, and a young reporter who had a heart attack. As they spoke, a dark sedan pulled into the lot. Hutchins fled, urging Danny to trust no one. Moments later, Agent James Crawford, claiming FBI credentials, approached. He admitted the miners' deaths were part of a Cold War uranium extraction operation. Most accepted relocation packages, but James Morrison refused, threatening to expose the truth. Crawford warned Danny to stop investigating, hinting at danger to his family. An accident at the mine could be arranged if he didn't comply. Danny visited his aunt, Ruth Morrison, his grandfather's 86-year-old sister. She confirmed James documented the conspiracy and gave her a key to a safety deposit box at First National Bank in Logan County, rented under Patrick Morrison. The box held proof of the murders and government involvement. Ruth handed over the key, warning that the same forces watching their family for 50 years would kill to keep it secret at the bank. Danny saw two men in suits pressuring the manager. About the safety deposit boxes, presenting the key, he demanded access to box 247. The teller hesitated, citing a federal investigation. Danny bluffed about a court order, drawing the agent's attention. They claimed to assist under Crawford's orders, but their posture screamed threat. In the vault, Danny opened the box, finding documents, photos, geological samples, and a letter from James. It revealed the mine held rare earth elements worth $10 billion today, critical for advanced technology, government scientists confirmed. The deposits days before the murders, panicking when miners shared samples. The explosion was a staged execution. The box included execution orders on government letterhead, implicating high-ranking officials. Crawford and 4 armed agents entered the vault. Deputy Williams radioed that the mine's sealed entrance was breached, revealing 17 bodies with gunshot wounds. Crawford admitted to decades of similar operations across Appalachia, eliminating miners who found classified resources. News helicopters tipped off by police chatter arrived. Danny went live on television, reading James's letter and exposing the conspiracy. The Blackwater hearings followed, with Hutchins's testimony and James's documents revealing over 300 victims across multiple states. The James Morrison Transparency Act mandated oversight of federal resource operations. Cumberland Coal faced billions in lawsuits, and Crawford was charged with murder, though some officials claimed immunity. 6 months later, at a memorial for the 17 victims, Danny saw Hutchins no longer hiding, honoring the dead. A message from Patricia Collins, daughter of Deputy Collins, hinted at more evidence, suggesting the fight wasn't over. Matuan became a hub for transparency advocates, and Danny was ready to uncover the next secret, carrying on his grandfather's legacy.